Today's sponsors are Angelo's Interiors, specialising in kitchens, bedrooms and bathrooms. Go and visit their showroom today in Gillingham. Their web address is angelosinteriors.com. And De Medici Associates, Chartered Structural and Civil Engineers.
Based in the UK with a worldwide reach.
Visit their website on demediciassociates.com.
Welcome to the Cherrywood podcast with me, Simon Burridge.
And me, Rachel Burridge.
Natalie Pieri, take one.
Well done.
Like a pro.
There you go. Hang up there, then people can see your name. People can see your name. Go on the sign.
Go on the sign.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bit higher.
that's not working.
There we go. There we go. Natalie Pieri, Accounting Connection. Sorry, Rach. Today I'll be you straight in the face while you're drinking.
I'm not having a good day.
Before we start, how long?
5 minutes, 37 seconds.
For anyone listening, only listening, when I say how long, I mean before the sign falls off. Nothing rude, but she knows how long that is.
4 inches.
Wait.
Right, where are you and where'd you come from? That sounds like something from a game show.
My name is Natalie Pieri. My company is Accounting Connections. I am a chartered certified accountant for my sins. This year, I will have been in the accounting industry for 20 years.
Oh my goodness, that's weird.
And you're still there. That's amazing.
What, in your own capacity?
In my own business as Accounting Connections, we're in our 10th year. So 1st of December will be 10 years to the day I started the business.
Wow.
Excellent.
So for half of my professional life, I've worked for myself.
Blimey.
Don't know whether that leans to being unmanageable or not.
Exactly. So we're recording this around the start of February. So you're on holiday now then?
Absolutely. Two months of just kicking back and chilling and having lunches and coming to do podcasts. You know, I've got time to do this stuff
And
now.
then another 10 months of telling people, get your taxes in. Get your taxes in.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't leave it last minute.
We always have. There's always that small list of repeat offenders. Every year we know who is going to leave it until January, regardless of how many times during the year you're like, you're going to send me stuff early this year. And they're like, yeah, I'm definitely not going to be that person next year. It's definitely not going to be me. And then every January when I call them, they're like, it's me again, isn't it? Yes, it's you again.
So would you recommend doing it as soon as possible? Or?
Well, yeah, because if you think about it, tax year runs April to April, and then you've got until the end of January to get everything filed and paid. That's 10 months, right? So people that leave it till the last minute and then say to HMRC, oh, I couldn't get on the system, or, you know, I broke my arm or my computer broke down. You've had 10 months before that point to get it done.
Yeah.
So that's why HMRC have a really... You know, they're quite tight. They're like, look, you've had 10 months. Like, you know, yes, your dog might have died or your nan might have died this month, but you've had 9 months before this to get it sorted.
I think some people think if they leave it last minute, then it's giving them less time to
and that's not the case, because the time that they start reviewing is actually after the deadline. So regardless of when you put it in, it doesn't mean that they've got any more or less time to review your case.
Right.
Yeah, and like I say, if you think about it, especially like there's a lot of people out there that work CIS, okay? So they get their tax deducted at source.
Right, explain
By
CIS
the time
to me, because I'm crap.
You
know how crap I am.
Well, let's say you earn 20 grand a year.
Yeah.
Okay, and of that 20 grand, you're going to get deducted 20% on the whole 20 grand.
Yes.
Every person in the UK has a personal allowance. At the moment, it's £12,570. So for that amount of money that you've earned, that should have been tax-free.
Yes.
So you've paid too much tax in the year.
I see.
So as soon as you put your tax return in, you say, look, I earned 20,000 this year. This is how much CIS tax I've paid. But this is how much CIS tax I owe. This is how much income tax I owe, which will be a lot less than the CIS tax you've paid. You'll be due the money back. So the sooner you get the return in, the sooner you get your money back. It's as simple as that.
Very true.
Similarly, if you've got a tax liability, if you know what you've got to pay in May and you've got until the end of January to pay it, you've got all that time
to save up,
to make a plan. If you haven't already put it aside, then you've got time to put it together. Whereas if you find out on the 25th of January that you've got a £3,000 tax bill and then you've got less than a week to pay it, like,
that's very
you
true.
know, it's like shooting yourself in the foot, really. But Like I say, year in, year out, same people.
We've done it maybe a few times.
Sorry?
Left it late, haven't we?
We've left
Do you feel personally attacked right now?
No, we leave it a little bit late, but we're not too bad, I don't think.
We've done it once or twice
Yeah.
in January, and we think, oh, not next year, not next year.
And we always get it wrong, and what my prediction is always wrong.
We try
on
our
my Excel
hardest.
sheet. Yeah,
Try our hardest.
but not by
I've
far.
changed the term nagging, so a lot of people think that we nag them for their records, and I changed that because I don't like the sound of nagging because it has lots of negative connotations. So I say I don't nag, I remind with authority. That is what I do.
I might say that to the kids.
Yes, I am not nagging, I am reminding with authority. You know what you're meant to do. I'm just reminding you again in a stern way to do
Tell
it.
that to you.
Right. So, how did you get to this wonderful, fascinating world of dealing with people's figures? That sounds
Because
wrong.
I was a
Accounting.
really strange child.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. At 10 years old, so year 6 at school, last year of junior school, when you had one computer in the whole school that got wheeled into your classroom, and the back of it was like this and the screen was tiny. There was this 100-question multiple choice like aptitude test. I think the program was called Kudos, but I wouldn't hold me to that.
That rings a bell.
Yeah, but you answered all these 100 questions, multiple choice questions, and at the end it then gave you a list of all the jobs you were suited for, with the most suitable at the top
So
and
you
the
took
least
it
at the
literally?
bottom. Well, the top of the list came up auditor.
All right,
Okay. Being 10 years old, I had absolutely no idea what an auditor was. So I said to my dad, I was like, Dad, what's an auditor? Because apparently I'm meant to be one when I'm older.
Oh, bless.
And he was like, oh, well, auditors are accountants that people don't like. So if you want to be liked, go be an accountant, don't be an auditor. He went, in fact, you're good at maths, go be an accountant. So that was it.
Oh.
Every decision I made from that point in time was with the view to being an accountant. And that's what I did.
Wow. And so you literally took his words
Yes.
seriously
But
and went,
that's
I'm
what
going to
kids
do
do,
this.
don't they?
Yeah.
When they're complete trust to their parents. My mum said you need to go and get an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
All right then. Yeah, I'll go and get an apprenticeship. I'm still there.
As an apprentice.
Yeah, I'm still an apprentice. Yeah, I'm still at the same place. So.
But yeah, so that's what I did. Every decision I made from there on was to be an accountant. And then I went, so when all my friends were doing I went to a grammar school. So they dedicate whole lessons when you're in sixth form to doing your UCAS application.
Oh, yeah.
So as soon as you say, oh, I'm not going to university, they're like,
They kick
what?
you out, don't they?
You're like ostracised.
Shun
You are. It's like these whole lessons where everyone's sitting and doing these forms. They're like, well, you don't have to do a form, so you can go and amuse yourself somewhere else, I guess. And
You're
it's like,
like,
oh,
okay.
So 18 years old, I wrote a CV. I mean, the CV was literally, I'd done some work at New Look and I'd worked as a waitress at Gillingham Football Club and done a bit of work at Tesco's. That was pretty much all I had done.
You was a Jill,
I
wasn't you?
worked in the shop and I did a little bit in the bar. Oh, I can't even remember. It turned into a club, didn't it? I can't remember what it was
What,
called.
the
now.
Blue
piano
Shop.
bar?
Yes.
Oh, right,
yeah,
okay.
that was it. Yeah. So I worked in there for a little bit as well.
Ah, yeah. So clearly where all the best people go to work. So.
Yeah, clearly, yeah. Yeah.
I
But
loved it.
I wrote a CV and I wrote a cover letter, printed it out, and it was back in the day of yell.com.
Right.
And I did a yell.com search for accountants in Medway. And I sent out 40 letters, literally hand-wrote envelopes, 40 letters, stamped them, stuck them in the box. Of those 40 letters, I only got 6 replies. Of those 6 replies, 4 said, thanks, but we're not looking for anybody. And 2 of them said, come in for a chat. So went in for a chat. And one of them, actually, the company that gave me my very first shot at being an accountant was a company called Thompson & Co. And my maiden name's Thompson. Absolutely no relation to me, this guy. But I just thought it was a sign. I was like, I have to be here. This,
Yeah.
And he was really nice and friendly, and he was, looking to invest in making me an accountant. So I went with it.
No.
And and he has been my mentor even up until recently. I say he's retired. No accountant ever really retires, to be perfectly honest.
Everyone has the question, can you just?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was it him that gave you the push to do it, go on your own, or was it because he had sort of...
No, I am one of the many millennials walking around with undiagnosed ADHD. So I get very bored very quickly if something is not stimulating me. So I stayed with Thompson & Co. about, 18 months, 2 years. But it was I was doing a lot of admin
Right.
as well as accounting. And I was like, do you know what? I wanted to be an accountant. I didn't want to be an administrator. I'm going to push forward to something else where I can do some more accounting. So moved to the next firm, got a bit more accounting exposure, a bit of audit exposure. And then I was like, bored here now. I'm going to move somewhere else. Got a bit more exposure. So I moved around quite a few different places. Also did a stint of accounting in what we call accounting in commerce. So what I do now is accounting in practice, where I deal with accounts and tax returns for multiple different businesses. Accounting in commerce is when like you go to work for one big company and you work in their internal finance department.
Right.
And as expected, really monotonous. Like you have what we call a working day cycle. So because calendar days, like the first of the month might fall on a Sunday. So it's not the first working day of the month, it's just the first calendar day of the month, right? So on working day 1, working day 5, working day 10, you knew exactly what you was going to be doing on those days. It just became so repetitive,
drive me nuts,
boring. Yes. So I got to that point in that job where I was like, I really need something else. I need to go back into practice. Clearly, this isn't stimulating me enough. Somebody I knew at the time was starting up an accountancy firm. Well, he had started it up with a colleague, and he wasn't an accountant himself, but he had some accounting experience. It was the other lady that worked with him that was the accountant, but she was looking to move away and do something else. And he was like, I need somebody else to come join me. So I was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. So I kind of went with him. We changed the name of the company to Accounting Connections, kind of born then on the 1st of December 2014. And then about 6 months in, he realised, he was more an estate agent than an accountant. Right. So I said, look, you got your estate agency, go and do that. I'll take the reins here and take it forward. So since then, that's what I've done. So
that's amazing. So you must have enjoyed maths? Question mark.
This is the funny thing, right? It's a really common misconception that in order to be a good accountant, you have to be good at maths. It's I want to say 90% of what I do is logic and problem solving.
Oh, right, okay. Because everyone would assume that being an accountant, you must be good at maths, right? Everyone must say that.
Oh, it's really annoying when you go out for dinner with a big group of people, and then when the bill comes and everyone looks at you and like, you're the accountant. It's like, yeah, everyone has a calculator on their phone. Like, just because I know how to work the UK tax system doesn't mean that I'm Rain Man. Like,
you don't have it all. Right, okay, so that's £28 per person.
Yeah.
So what have you done to stop being bored? Because you're still in the same industry. I know you own it now. So what is it that's keeping you going?
I guess that I can pick and choose, can't I? When you're running although saying that, working for yourself is always a fallacy. When you're employed, you work for a boss. When you're self-employed, you work for your customers. You work for your
course.
clients, right? So you're never really doing what you want to do.
It's just your boss changes all the time.
My boss is such a cow. She never lets me have any time off. But yeah, it's just about, do you know what? I think it's just the range of clients I have coming in where certain accountants niche in an area, which is great for them because, then you're a specialist in a certain area and everybody from that field will be drawn to you because you do it day in, day out and know what you're doing. I'm more like the general practitioner of accounting. Like I do multiple, it's like, you go see a GP, you don't expect them to know the ins and outs of cancer. You'd go to an oncologist, right? Yeah. So there's lots of accountants that specialise in areas, but I do more general accounting for small, medium-sized companies, sole traders, 1, 2-man band, limited companies. That's my niche as such. It's micro businesses. It's because I know that these businesses mean everything to these people, and I want to help them continue that and do the best they can to earn their money without having to pay the majority of it over to HMRC because they don't know the best way to set themselves up to keep as much money that they earn in their pockets.
Absolutely.
And how many people you got working for you?
There's at the moment it's me plus 4. We've got somebody new starting on the 1st of March. So it'll be me plus 5.
And one of these is a good friend of yours.
She is.
Vic.
Yes.
Hello, Vic. I know Vic. How hard is that for a friend of yours that you've known since how old?
We were four.
Four.
Yeah.
Now you're the boss of that person. Does it affect your relationship in any way?
Or do you have to put friendship at the door and then...
I'll tell you her answer after. No, she didn't.
She's texting.
To be honest with you, I think it's all about just setting those boundaries.
Yeah.
Generally, as soon as we leave the office, we don't talk about work anymore. And it's similar because I also have clients who are friends, and they will, come around for dinner with their families to my house. If we're at my house at a weekend on a Sunday having dinner, I'm not going to say, you still haven't answered my email. Like, I'm not going to say that to them because that's the boundary I've put in place. Work is during work hours, and personal is during the rest of the hours.
That's your boundary, but do they ask you questions? I would. I know I would. Because I just don't know when to shut up.
That's very true.
But if I think of something, I will forget by Monday.
Don't invite him round for dinner. That's
she
the
never
main
has.
point.
She never has.
No, to be honest, I think it's just I'm quite a confident, stern person as such, and like I say, where I put my boundaries in, I think people understand those and react to those accordingly. But if somebody wants to ask me a tax question at the weekend when they're around having a barbecue or whatever, then I'll answer your tax question. But I'm not going to give you professional advice. In my house at a barbecue in a social setting.
Absolutely.
If it comes to the point where someone's like, oh, you can help me with that, can't you? I say, yeah, make an appointment at my office and we'll talk about it.
And then they know, actually, that's the end of the conversation. Let's move
I even
on.
have people, so I run 2 different Facebook profiles, one for me, my personal life, and one for me, my business persona. Don't get me wrong, like I'm not completely different, but you've
got to keep it separate.
I'm a professional, and I take my profession really seriously. One of my professional ethics is not to bring the accounting industry into disrepute. It's very difficult as well to trust somebody as a professional with your financial situation if you've seen them, drunk and falling over at a party at the weekend. Not that I get drunk and fall over at parties every weekend, but you know what I mean.
Not every weekend. No.
I completely forgot where I was going with that. It's what happens to my mind
it's
sometimes.
It's about you separating the 2 Facebook, your persona.
So if somebody then in my personal life pops me a message on Facebook, I've been looking for somebody to help with my tax return, I don't tend to start with the whole, what's up then? I just say,
link to my...
Pop an email to info@aconnect.co.uk or call us on 01634 540 340. My colleague Hazel will book you into my diary and then we can have a chat about it. So then they're like, right, okay, I got it. She wants me to email or call, book an appointment, we'll chat, but I'm not prepared to.
No,
and that's also another part of our professional ethics is that we shouldn't be seen to be going out and giving free advice willy-nilly because, the advice for one person is not the same as the advice for another person. Every single person's situation is entirely individual and different.
And it just takes that one person to say, I said to Natalie this and she said this, and this for free. And then someone else will say, well, you did it for her for free. What about me?
It's different.
And it's not even just that. It's more that, if you're in a social situation and somebody says, I can claim for cups, can't I, as a tax deductible expense? And I'll go, mate, no problem. Yeah, you can do that because you run a cafe. So, of course, you can claim for mugs. And then I'll have, then all of a sudden, an electrician will say, well, you told Rachel she could claim for mugs, so I've claimed for mugs. But you're an electrician, you don't need mugs.
He's using it as advertisement, not as...
it was just an example because the mug was in front of me.
Right, for a podcast with Cherrywood podcast, here's the question. Can I claim for mugs?
Absolutely. Yeah, that is marketing and advertising. No problem at all.
There you go.
But it's just things like, I'm an accountant. I don't need a drill to do what I do, okay? So for me, a drill is not a tax deductible expense, but for an electrician, they need a drill to do what they do, okay? Yeah. So that's why it's very difficult as well because a lot of people out there think that there should just be this one universal list of things that you can claim. You can't possibly write that list because it's different for every industry specific.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because generally the rule is you can't go out and claim lunches, food and drink and things like that because that is not, there's a rule that HMRC have called wholly and exclusively. It's not wholly and exclusively for the purpose of running your business.
No.
You are buying food and drink wholly and exclusively for the purpose of keeping yourself alive, because you have to eat to live. However, there we go.
What did you say? What time did you say?
Oh, I don't know. I'm way off. I think it lasted a hell of a lot longer than I thought.
It was very specific. It was 5:37 or something.
Did you say we didn't start dead on the time though, did we?
No, we've been chatting more than...
Yeah, we have. We must have started early.
No, I think it was a lot longer than I said, I think.
Sorry.
I completely forgot what I was saying then.
I don't know why we do that, because it messes every guest right up. It messes every guest.
Oh, gosh. And I'm sorry, but I have a really loud laugh. It's hereditary. It comes from my mother. Like, I can't help it.
He's got the headphones in, so you're fine
it's only
to
me
me.
you're kidding.
He's sitting there going, okay, so you said about your girls that you work with.
Yeah.
Which one's your favourite? No, wait. No,
it's not big.
Do they have specific... I'm going to say not talents, but do they have specific areas they specialise in, or are they a bit broad like
I think
yourself?
that the best way to lead a team is to understand the individual strengths of each individual in your team and make sure that their role plays to those strengths.
Oh, right. So Vicky just makes tea then?
No, she's shit at making tea. Hazel makes the best tea ever. Vicky does not. Now, if I was asking somebody to pour me wine, then that's where Vicky shines, right?
Right. Yeah. So yeah.
But yeah, so I think that, I know that Vicky loves getting a big messy pile of receipts and then turning it into a beautiful, organised folder, and that everything's on the system and everything's like got a green tick. It's all ticked off nicely. She loves turning a big mess into something really lovely and organised. Okay. So bookkeeping is absolutely where she shines,
right?
And Vicky came on originally as an administrator, but I kind of thought there must be, let's see what else you can do, because she had always ever done. She had only ever done administration up until that point, so she never really knew what her strengths were because she had never tried anything. So gave her a bit of bookkeeping, tried her out on a bit of tax. We were expanding, and then we found her strength and we run with that. So
brilliant. So people are still sending receipts in then, because you suggest like QuickBooks or something like that, didn't you?
Yes.
Other ones are available, but I don't know them.
Zero is the best.
Zero. That's sorry. There you go. Zero, QuickBooks, all them types of things.
Yeah,
before I get done.
There's so many. Yeah, Zero, QuickBooks, Sage, Free Agent.
Now, if someone was to come on board with you, would you give them a bit of Zero training or QuickBooks traiing so they knew what they were doing?
That's Vicky's area of expertise.
Oh, right. Okay.
She uses Zero day in, day out for bookkeeping tasks. She's also really good with people. She's really good at understanding and relating to people and just making things nice and easy for them to understand. So she's our first port of call when new clients come on. Like I say, if somebody comes on, they've already got a system in place, got a QuickBooks or whatever, we'll work with it. I'm not into bringing people on board and going, right, now you're our client, I'm going to change you to this and this and this. Because at the end of the day, an accountant is meant to help complement your business and not just completely go in and change everything to suit them.
And take a bit of load off, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing, if somebody is used to using QuickBooks and they're happy using QuickBooks and it works for them, why fix something that's not broken? So you just let them go with it and work with them. But yeah, generally, if we've got people coming in that don't have a system at all, I say, look, Zero is the system that we prefer to use, but there are others on the market. Go out and take a look, and I'll send them a few links. They look at some systems. If you want to go with Zero, we can get it sorted for you, and then you can come in and do some training with Vicky, or we can do it online because she'll do some Zoom training if people can't make it to the office.
Right.
But yeah, generally we've had really good feedback as to the kind of level of support that we can offer in terms of hand-holding and guiding through how to get your day-to-day bookkeeping done. Or, there's some people that are like, do you know what? I know how to do bookkeeping. I just don't want to do it. Their time is better spent doing whatever it is that they're good at, whatever there is that runs their business.
I mean, we've spoken to a few people, haven't we, that said, look, my industry is electrician or painter or decorator. And they said, I don't have a clue about accounts, hence why I have an accountant, because they said, I just give them my receipts or give them all my paperwork and say, that's your job, because they have not a clue what they're doing, don't they? So obviously that's where you step in and do your magic, really.
Yeah. So if you were to get a pile of receipts and there's a few receipts in there, you think...
Vicky were to get a pile of receipts.
Right, yeah. Sorry, I forgot that. You're the one drinking the wine, aren't you?
Absolutely.
So if Vicky was to be handed a pile of receipts, she's like, I don't think you should be claiming on this.
Yeah, so we're very open up. We're straight talkers, okay? We are not yes people. I'll tell you exactly how it is. Yes, you can claim this. No, you can't claim this. Have you thought about claiming this?
But with receipts, and there could be hundreds and hundreds. Sorry to jump in.
Yeah.
There could be hundreds and hundreds. And you may have read it on there and thinking, why has he bought this? And he's got a good justification of why he's bought it. Should they be writing notes on the receipts to say why he's got it?
Like I say, depends on what kind of system you run. Generally... we're quite a way away now, I think, from getting the bag. The only times we get bags of receipts is if we are doing bookkeeping for people throughout the year. The sole traders that come to us for just sort of end of year taxes, etc. We tend to send them a spreadsheet. So we've got a template and we'll say all the receipts you got at home, just type them into this spreadsheet.
Right.
Send us the spreadsheet. Okay. I'm not an auditor. It's not my job to sit there and go through each receipt and tick it off to the spreadsheet. If you've put it on the spreadsheet, I'm taking it as gospel that you have a receipt that backs that up. Right. Because in the event of a HMRC investigation, if they run down the list and go, right, I want to see the receipt for that one, you need to be able to provide those receipts.
Yeah. So have you ever been in that position where you've had to help someone out that has been audited by HMRC?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Is it scary? Because that just panics me. The sheer word HMRC are coming to investigate would just panic the hell out of me.
It can be over very quickly because what they'll do is they'll open 1 year. So they'll say, for example, 22-23, that's the tax returns that have just gone in. They'll say, right, your 22-23 tax return flagged on our system for whatever reason. Normally a flag is because something, either income or expenses, have dramatically increased from one year to the next. If your income has increased dramatically, but your expenses have also increased dramatically in line, then that's not a flag. But if your income has gone way up and your expenses have gone way down, or your income's gone way down, your expenses have gone way up, then that's normally the one that they would flag first, because they're thinking you're not paying enough tax. They'll open 1 year. They will ask for your backing documents. So they'll ask for bank receipt, bank statements.
How far back you got to go with these receipts?
So 6 years is what you're meant to keep.
6 years.
But what I'm saying is they will open 1 year. If they are satisfied that the return that you've put in agrees to the backing information you've sent them, then they'll close your case and say, fine, that's it, you're doing everything right. If they find significant errors in that 1 year, they will open up 6 years previous, and then they will go back 6 years.
Right.
God.
And it can be very...
You're always going to find it
difficult.
Yeah.
Well, years and years ago, there was a guy, I was talking about this the other day, actually. He was investigated, and I sat there and I said to him, look, sorry, playing footsie with you there.
You do that all the time anyway, so carry on.
I said, look, I am on your side, okay? I think some people think that accountants are on the side of the taxman. We're absolutely not. We're just trying to help you fit in with the rules that the taxman has set, just to protect you. I need you to tell me everything. Do you have any form of income that we haven't put on your tax return? No, I haven't got a penny, driving some clapped out old Ford Transit that's falling apart. And he was absolutely determined. He did not earn any money other than what he had told me and what we had put on his tax return. So then HMRC have come in and then they've said, don't know why you bothered driving the transit van to the office today, because we know you own a Ferrari. We also know that you spend £3,000 each month on online gambling. Your figures don't show that you earn £3,000 a month. So where did that money come from? And I just looked at him. I'm like, like if you had just told me, I could have helped find some kind of game plan here, some kind of strategy, but no.
So when you say the HMRC come in, do they physically come in?
This was sort of 10, 12 years ago. Yeah. So they physically came to the office. Things are adapting now.
Do you know certain people in the HMRC that are usually the ones that do these things, or is it always different?
No, always different.
Right.
Yeah, always different. And generally now they'll do it electronically. So like I say, they'll send you a letter.
Yeah.
They'll ask you to provide information. They've started using emails over the past couple of years. I say HMRC in this country, their goal and their ultimate aim is to be the most electronically advanced tax system in the world.
Right.
I don't understand how they think that they're going to get to that goal at any time in the next 20 years, because they are well behind a lot of other European countries.
Because I always get that email come through. Oh, HMRC have said that you've got this much in tax. Click on this link, and I'm like, delete. There's no way.
Yeah, the scams drive us insane. And do you know what? They're getting a lot better now. We've had some letters come to our office that look very much like HMRC letters, and they come in brown envelopes as well. They're sending them in brown envelopes.
It's so easy, though. Isn't it? It's so easy.
Yeah, we looked. My colleague Hazel was like, "This, I don't know. There's something not right about this letter." And then she compared it to another HMRC letter that we had for a different client. She was like, "No, this is definitely a scam. This one." Like, she was like, "It's crazy how similar they look now."
If you were to fall for that scam, you have insurance that would cover that problem or whatever it is you've fallen for, or do you see what I'm coming for? Or was it a client that sent you that letter?
No, it was a letter. So a lot of our clients use our office as their registered office address.
Oh, right. Okay.
So HMRC write to my clients, but it comes to our address, so we deal with the post when it arrives.
Oh, right, okay. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, so it was the HMRC writing to my client saying, you owe this much money in tax.
And you would open it on their behalf?
And we opened it and we dealt with it. It was like, well, no, they don't owe any tax, and this is in fact a fraudulent letter.
I've had emails like that all the time. And text messages.
Yeah. Oh, and I just think, no, we're up to date on our tax.
Yeah, we're
quite,
fine. We're not too bad.
Hot on when to put their tax in, when payments are due in, everything like that, you know. So when these things come through, I'm like, nah, that's crap. Ignore it.
Problem is, though, that there are so many people out there that aren't as savvy that just go, oh my gosh, like I owe tax. I've had quite a few phone calls like, oh, I had a text and they say that I owe money back. No, you're not. I'm afraid. Sorry to burst your bubble. No.
I'm going to give you some. I'm going to ask you some scenarios now.
Oh no.
Someone's purchased something on, say, Amazon.
Yeah.
Right. It's for their business.
Yeah.
They get an email confirmation of the purchase.
Yeah.
The thing gets delivered. There's no receipt in that. Is the email confirmation a receipt?
But you can download invoices from Amazon.
Oh, can you? How'd you do that? Make notes, Rach. Make notes.
It's a personal scenario.
Of course, it's a personal scenario.
Yeah. You can download invoices from.
So it's the email
from the orders page.
Is the email purchase email that they send you?
It is. But I mean, if you're VAT registered, then it wouldn't be enough. That wouldn't be enough to reclaim any VAT.
Okay.
But it's enough to prove a purchase.
Can you explain that to us?
How long have you got? I mean, VAT in its simplest form is you are an agent of HMRC. You are a collector of taxes. You will charge VAT on your services to other people and they will pay you. But then you can reclaim all the VAT on all of the costs that you've had where you've paid VAT, and then you pay the difference to HMRC. So let's say you've invoiced somebody £100.
Yep.
Okay. And you've added VAT of £20. They've paid you 120.
Yes.
Okay. So you are now holding £20 on behalf of HMRC.
Okay.
You then go and spend £12 in the shop. Okay.
Yep.
So that's £10 is what you've bought, £2 is VAT, £12 is what you've spent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
You with me so far?
Yep. Let me write this down.
Yeah.
So I've charged someone £100.
Yeah.
Then I've charged them £20 VAT.
Yeah.
Then I've gone to the shop, bought something for £12.
£10. So
£10
plus £2
plus
VAT.
£2 VAT. Yeah.
That's it. So now what you would have to pay to HMRC
is
£18.
Right.
That's how it works in its simplest form.
Oh, right. Okay.
So you collect all of the VAT on your invoices that you've charged people, and you count up all the VAT on all of the costs that you've spent, and the difference between the two is what you pay over to HMRC.
So anything you buy, you should really put on, let's say you're doing it on a spreadsheet, and then you should put in what it actually cost you, and then...
Yeah, and the VAT in a separate column.
Yeah.
So most...
is everything you're purchasing got VAT on it?
No.
Right.
But anything that you purchase that has VAT on it will have the VAT breakdown on the invoice, on the receipt.
Right.
Even so, like B&Q, they'll have a little VAT section at the bottom.
Yeah.
So it's a certain earning, isn't it, to become VAT registered? Is that correct?
Yeah, 85,000 in turnover.
Why am I writing this down?
You're getting free advice.
I'm
going to start an accountancy after this.
I'll test you on it later. Yeah.
So 85,000 VAT. Right. So here's another scenario. You've got someone coming in. He's a sole trader. He's been doing it for 4 years or something. He's a bricklayer. No, he's a carpenter.
Yeah.
He's gradually building up his business. He's been doing his receipts and all that, but he's come to you and he's not sure whether to stay sole trader or go to limited?
Yeah.
Because I know what I'm talking about. Oh God, I've got something in my eye now. What was I going to say? So how would you advise him on whether he should remain sole trader, or is there a limit that he's definitely got to leave?
There's a whole bunch of questions that would be asked at that point in time. And again, this is where it's the whole one size doesn't fit all.
It's a lot of liabilities
approach.
There as well, isn't there?
Because there's a new corporation tax system in as of 1st of April last year. So your corporation tax rate now depends on the level of profits you're making. So that will ultimately impact how much corporation tax you're going to be paying, how much you can take out the business personally, and you need to weigh one up against the other. It's also how many other forms of taxable income do you have? Is it just what you're earning from the sole tradership, or do you have rentals or pension or savings investment income? Unfortunately, it's not just if you earn this much, you should be limited, because there is a whole bunch of other things that need to be taken into account as well when making that decision. Also, there are some people who it's only ever just going to be them in their business doing their thing. They don't want to expand. They don't want to, advertise and get hundreds of clients. They're happy with the little client base that they've got. They don't want staff. They're not going to earn over 85. They don't want to be, so they're not going to ever be VAT registered.
But
so those people generally would stick to being sole trader.
In theory, if their insurance is correct, it is incorrect. Everything they own is liable, though, isn't it?
There is that. Yeah. So by being a limited company, you have what's called limited liability. Your liability to the company's actions is limited to the amount of shares you hold in it. If you have £1 share in your business, then that is where your liability stops.
Right.
As a sole trader, if you do something wrong, somebody decides to sue you. Similarly, the taxman. I had somebody speak to me the other day who HMRC investigated 1 year. They weren't satisfied that the answers given in that 1 year were correct. They've now opened up 6 more years, and this guy's facing a 90 grand tax bill. As a sole trader, they can take his house. Well, they can put a charge on the house for that.
Yeah.
If he was limited, he could just wind down the company.
Yeah.
Couldn't, because HMRC would stop him from doing that. But, that's what I mean, is that there are different ways to limit yourself from that.
So could you still be under?
Is it 32 grand as well, the profit? Am I thinking that?
What?
There's a line, isn't there, from going to sole trader to... I know we've just crossed this, and you said there's not, but there is on earnings, isn't there?
It's less than you'd think. It's about 16, 17k in profit,
right?
But then you have to then weigh in additional accounting fees and all the additional hassle it comes with having. Because as a sole trader, you only have one legal filing requirement every year, and that's your self-assessment. And that's it.
Yes.
One tax return. That's it. You're done for the year. As a limited company, you have to have accounts to Companies House once a year. You have to have something called a confirmation statement to Companies House once a year, which confirms to them where the company's operating from, who's in charge of the company, who owns the shares, that kind of thing. You also got a corporation tax return that you need to file once every year with HMRC. You also need to add to that a set of accounts, which is it's called IXBRL tagged accounts that need to go with that tax return. And then also you have to do your own personal self-assessment as well. So you've gone from one filing requirement to 4 filing requirements.
That's where you guys come in.
Which is why the fees, the fees to have a limited company from an accounting perspective is much more than a sole trader, because there is much more work involved.
Of course.
Is there anything out there that you can protect yourself? So you are a sole trader. So the insurance would protect you, so they don't sue you and take your house.
Yeah, but what it's like with insurance.
Yeah,
they'll look at every reason not to pay you out. That's the thing.
Yeah,
they look at any reason to not pay you out.
There's no clause, there's nothing out there that says
because like I have what's called professional indemnity insurance. It means that if I give somebody advice in a professional capacity, they take that advice and then something goes wrong, and then they say, do you know what, I lost out loads of money because I took your advice. I'm going to sue you. That's what my insurance is there to cover. Similarly, you know, we have public liability insurance, so that if somebody walks into my office and falls over and hurts themselves, that insurance will cover that. If you really think about any other things that people might sue you for, there's not really a great deal, I think.
Well, I keep thinking drone, right? I have £5 million drone cover. But, you know, you get trained on how to fly a drone, things like that. But what if, you know, all of a sudden there's a gust of wind, it sends it into a motorway. That always crosses my mind. You know, you wouldn't be flying it over the motorway, but if it sends it into the motorway, then what would happen then? Do you know what I mean? They say, well, the wind was too high, but it wasn't, you know. Little things like that.
Do you remember that movie with Billy Connolly in called The Man Who Sued God?
No.
Okay, so it's all about, I think it was this guy, he lived on a houseboat, and I think there was some big storm, hole inside of his boat went under. His insurance wouldn't pay out. And the reason his insurance wouldn't pay out is because they said it was an act of God. And he said, well, fine. He said, if God is to blame, I will sue God. And he did. And then he get this big class action where loads of other people said, you know, my house got hit by lightning and they wouldn't fix my roof because it was an act of God. So, loads of them sued God. It was, I think, I want to say it was
old.
Early 90s, I think.
Right, okay. I'll have a look at that.
But it was a bit Billy Connolly. I think it'd be right up your street, actually. Billy Connolly movie, The Man Who Sued God.
But, so they would have to... Yeah, but you've got warnings on your phone that come up about the wind, haven't you? If it's strong. So there must be a way of proving that.
It could be anything. A kid could go past with a kite. It could be something really silly that throws it into there that the insurance said, well, you shouldn't have been anywhere near it. Well, we wasn't anywhere near there. Do you know what I mean? It's a hard one. It's just me over worrying as usual.
It is, isn't it? So it's a worrying thing. It's it's the same as car insurance. You know, you might crash the car and then they might say, well, you should have been wearing glasses. Why weren't you wearing your glasses?
Exactly.
You know, if insurance companies want to get out doing something, they'll try their hardest to do it.
Yeah, that's the problem, innit? So like I say, like with drone licenses and drone tests and everything, you feel you're up to date with everything. But there may be something there that you've just not quite remembered in the test or something like that, and you're breaking a rule that you don't even know you're breaking.
Do you have to do that every year, or is it just you're trained?
Don't ask me that on here, Rach. I think
he does it every year. He keeps up to date with everything he's meant to. It's just like I do 40 hours of CPD every year.
Why would you ask that on here? I don't know the answer. I've only had it for a year, but I think I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Thanks for that. Now everyone's going to be able...
Giving him some homework now.
The thing is, it all depends on there's different rules for different weights of drone. So if it's over 250 grams, there's completely different rules. You can't even fly it within 50 metres of people. That's what the law is as we talk, as we speak now. It might be different in a few years' time. So I have a drone that's 249 grams. So you can go a little bit closer.
Well, sometimes you need to with bride and groom, though, right?
Oh, yeah. But you don't want to cut their heads off. But yeah, you can go a bit closer. Anyway, let's get off drones before I wish I hadn't mentioned it now. Right, what do you do apart from accountancy? What are you into?
I have 3 children. I have 2 teenagers and a toddler. So that pretty much takes up all of my spare time. To be fair.
All boys, all girls?
All boys.
Oh, all boys.
And a husband. So technically you've got 4. So,
4 children, really. So a lot of our weekends is taken up with football.
Right.
I want to call him my middle child. He is my middle child, but he was my baby for quite some time. There's 10-year age gap between my second and my third.
Oh, right, okay. I didn't realise that.
Yeah. So my kids are 15, 13 and 3.
Oh.
And the 3-year-old is doing all right now, because I know
he is. He was born with quite a few health problems, and oh my gosh, he was born in June 2020, so in lockdown.
Yeah.
He was born with something called unilateral hydronephrosis of the right kidney.
Oh my God.
It took me a long time to practice how to say that.
I'm going to have a go. Right. No.
No.
Unilateral fibrosis of the kidney, did you say?
Unilateral
Unilateral.
hydronephrosis.
Hydronephrosis. Oh, I've got that one now.
There
Unilateral hydro. Fuck it. Right, yeah, he's not well. Yeah.
So that was June 2020. He then contracted sepsis in October 2020.
Oh my
So he was only
gosh.
4 months old at that time. And then in February 2021, he contracted Kawasaki disease, which sounds really cool, you know, motorbikes,
motorbike,
Kawasaki,
yeah.
but actually it's not very cool at all.
Oh, bless
Yeah.
him.
And is that a disease you can get rid of?
You mean curable?
Yeah, but sometimes they just lay there, don't they?
I want it anymore, I'm just gonna get rid of
Yeah,
it,
do you know
yeah.
what? That disease, I don't think I'll have that. I'll get
There
rid
you
of
go.
that.
You can have it back.
Yeah, no, he yes, so he had we were admitted, we were at Medway Hospital for 3 nights, and then they ambulanced us up to the Evelina in London, which is on the side like Guy's and St Thomas's, and then we were there for a further 2 nights. They wanted to keep us for a third night, but by then I had been wearing the same set of clothes for 5 days straight, sleeping in them. You know, I stank. I was I was annoyed. I was, because they took us from Medway Hospital, where I'm, you know, my whole support system is in Medway.
Yeah.
Ambulanced me to the Evelina with a sick baby and nothing. You know, I couldn't just get my husband to come in and have a coffee with me or something
In the
and
middle
chill
of
out
COVID
because
as well.
Yeah, in the middle of COVID. So I got really annoyed, and it's not that I pulled him out, you know, when he needed to be in there. I said, is there any medical reason to keep him here for another night?
Yeah.
And they said, we just want to make sure. And I was like, okay, but all the tests that you've done up, you know, in the past few days have said that, you know, 95% certainty he's fine to go home. I said, look, I'm not a stupid person, okay? The only reason that he got cured as quickly as he did is because I got him to the hospital as quickly as I did, as soon as I noticed the symptoms.
Yeah.
And so I said, look, I'm not a stupid person. If any of these symptoms come back, I'm going to take him straight back to the Medway. Like, I'm not going to keep him at home if he doesn't need to be here. I just need to go home. I need to be with my support system, and my family need to see this baby.
Yeah.
So what did that hospital, sorry to jump in, what did that hospital have that Medway didn't have?
So
The Evelina's
Kawasaki causes enlargement of blood vessels around the heart.
Okay.
So they have to do an echocardiogram.
Right.
And bearing in mind he was only 10 months old at the time, his heart was really, really small.
Yeah.
And Medway just don't have the right imaging machines because probably because they don't need to give babies echocardiograms on a day-to-day, you know, and it's probably a very expensive machine. And
because the Evelina is a specialised children's hospital in London.
So rather than do it there and move you back to Medway, they just kept you up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the problem sometimes, is that in you know, when you go into the NHS and they give you unrealistic expectations sometimes, because I was under the impression we were going up to the Evelina, having this echocardiogram coming back.
Yeah.
And then I ended up being there for 2 days. If they had just said to me, you're going to go there for probably a few days, maybe more, then I could have prepared myself.
I need some clothes, I need this, I need that. Oh,
so you weren't given enough information.
No,
basically.
but thankfully, I mean, he started 2022 under the watch of 3 different consultants, one for his kidney, one for his Kawasaki, and one that was following up from his sepsis. And by the August, all 3 of them had signed him off.
Wow.
So, touch wood, he is perfectly healthy now.
Oh,
Brilliant.
So
that's
have
good.
they said that could come back later on in life? Or
Well, this was the thing. This is why we were under their watch. Like, he had to go up every 4 months for another echocardiogram just to check that there was no more enlargement of the vessels around the heart.
Oh, bless him.
So similarly with his hydronephrosis of the kidney, he had to have regular what scans were they? Ultrasounds. To make sure that things were the right size, etc. But going back to what I do at weekends. My middle child, he's part of a football team. He plays for Gillingham Town under 13s.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
They are doing so well. I'm so proud of him, and I'm so proud of the entire team. He's so my husband is a Kent FA referee.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
He gets some abuse on the weekend, doesn't he?
Yeah. So he tends to ref their home matches, and his brother, my brother-in-law, is my son's coach.
Right.
So he's coached the team, And yes, I just said to my husband the other day, like this weekend they had so they have all their league games, but there's also like different cups that run throughout the year. And they were in the semi-final. They had a semi-final cup game at the weekend. And it was a tough game, but they won 2-1. So they're now in the final.
Brilliant.
This is their second season of playing together as a team. And they've got to the final of a cup game, which is like amazing. But just looking at all the boys, like from the beginning of the season till now, at the beginning of the season, they were,
swarm of bees around the bottom.
They were a bunch of individuals. They were a whole bunch of individuals playing on a pitch. Whereas now they are genuinely a team.
A well-gelled team.
Yeah. They trust each other. They're passing the ball to each other. My son went into the match on Sunday with groin strain. He probably should.
Is that one of his friends?
He probably shouldn't have been playing, but he, he did some exercises and he was just like, please. His coach is his uncle, so he's like, please, Uncle Pan, let me play. I just want just give me 5 minutes. And he was like, okay, right, I'll give you 5 minutes, but if you're hurting, you come straight off. He ended up playing the whole game, but and my son plays centre back, so the left and right backs you could really see, because they knew that he was, slightly injured. They were kind of stepping forward and stepping in a bit more to like shield him, which I thought was just so heartwarming that, and that's what they do. They just all really come together. So we're looking forward to the final. I don't know when it is yet. But
where's it played, the final?
Don't know. I don't know. I think from what I understand, previous finals have taken place at Rochester United's ground or at Chatham Town's ground.
We live near Rochester United.
Yeah, I think they do all the cup games in one day. All the cup finals just do a whole day of cup finals.
Yes, they do. Well, I've got a load of sons. I've got tons of them. But I've been to a few cup finals, and you're right, they knock them all out in one day usually.
Our little one has just within the last 6 months started to get into football, and he knows not much about it, but he's like, I want to play football. I want to do this, Mum.
Yeah.
So we sent him to this team that we know, and this team are really good, aren't they?
Yeah, very good team.
Northfleet boys, and they're amazing.
Northfleet Eagles.
And sorry, I didn't know if I was allowed to promote them.
She just promoted her team.
That's very true, actually. Sorry. And I don't think they've lost a game.
They haven't lost a game all season. But
and they are.
Ted's just training with them until he gets in the team, and he hasn't got any Fs to give. Ted, he doesn't. He doesn't. He sits on that pitch. I looking at him the other day on practice. He's just spinning around in circles. And then when the match started, the mock-up match, he's put his hoodie over his eyes.
That was one
Ted,
week.
what are you doing?
The week before, he was really good because I think they're trying to get him to be a defender, aren't they? So he's like, right, so I've got to do this. But these boys have been training together for 2 years, and then obviously they get the odd person that comes in. So he's like, right, so I've got to now defend this, and I've got to copy this, and I've got to follow him around. I'm like, yes, do this. And then the coach,
it's 7 to 8. They just lose interest halfway through. I remember my eldest sons, when he joined the team, they had this match going on, because back then they could be competitive at that age.
Yeah.
And because my eldest son's 30, I know I don't look it, but he's 30.
Yeah, you definitely do look old enough to have a 30-year-old.
Thanks, darling. Thanks for that. They're playing the match, and I'm looking at these two defenders. I may have even said that on this podcast before, and these two defenders, one of them's going like that and going to the other person, and the other one's going like that. And the manager's gone, like the goal has just been scored by the other team. The manager's gone, what are you two doing? He said, well, he's planting the flowers and I'm packaging them ready for them to be taken away.
Just playing their lovely little imagination game in the middle of
It's in the middle of a football match.
Yeah.
But it's hilarious, though. It just used to crack me up, the way they just don't care, these kids. But yeah.
So you say, like, obviously your husband gets a bit of abuse for being a referee.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So some games are really, really tough as well.
I can imagine.
And also, I think because of the family relationship, I think that any team that loses against my son's team, it's an easy thing to blame.
Yes,
isn't it?
of course, yeah.
Well, of course we were going to lose. The referee is like, the manager's brother. He does have some integrity. He can actually call a fair game.
I used to run the line a lot, and I used to do offsides. I used to make sure those offsides were definitely offside. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't keep my flag down. I'd rather say it was offside if I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Just so the other team would realise I wasn't.
Oh, my dad had to do that against my cousin's team once, and he actually gave, what was it, a
penalty to his own
against her.
Yeah.
And he was like, I had to. There was nothing I could
My
do.
husband's had to do. He's had to give a
And he
penalty
said
against their side as well.
you
And
just
he's
gotta
just
do it.
like, I really do. It's like he said, as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's a
I've got to make
penalty.
this
I've got to do it. I have to.
But even the managers sort of don't like the fact you've just done that. Even,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's
They're
sad,
seeing
really.
it themselves going, it probably was.
It
But
is, but
still, it's
yeah.
your
Yeah.
fault.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's human nature, especially in a team sport like that, even if you know rationally in your mind that was a right call, you just want to fight it. Don't you? It's like, I know it was a right call, but it's not fair. It's not fair.
That's right. And it's so easy to get it wrong as a ref because you see it once. You see it once and it's a split second stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and this is the problem, is that where so many referees are getting so much abuse in the game, it is the number of referees is dwindling.
Oh, definitely.
Or you'll get the people that go and qualify as a referee just to help their kids' team.
Yeah.
And then when their kids finish playing, that's it. They stop refereeing.
Yeah.
And there is a big thing amongst, referees. They really do get the short end of the stick. And I think more people need to realise that without referees, there would be no game.
Yeah.
And this is
tough
the thing,
old job.
that I think that some I don't know if it was the Kent FA or if it was the big FA, but they were saying that it needs to come from grassroots up, the discipline. Whereas I disagree. I think that it should come from top down because these children are watching Premier League footballers shouting at referees and going, "Oh my God," and waving their arms right in the referee's face. So they think that that's acceptable behaviour.
How is that not happening in rugby and it's happening in football?
I'm like, if you talk back to the
I think once you talk back, that's it. You should be off.
Yeah. They get
it will stop it straight away.
Don't they? Yeah.
I played in a match once and there was a girl referee. Right?
What, football or rugby?
Football. There was a girl referee and she was sending people off left, right and centre.
Yeah.
So our team just shut up.
Yeah.
We just shut up and the other team were losing players all over the place. But it was early 90s and she called someone over. Like we're on the subs bench. She called someone over in the match and she's called him over and my mate went, "Do you think she's going to ask him if her bum looks big in those shorts?"
Oh.
Yeah. She didn't hear it. It got away
Can you
with
say
it.
sexist?
Yeah. But it was early 90s. She was one of the first, actually, she's the first girl referee I've ever.
I think it's very difficult as a woman to be taken seriously in a male-dominated industry. I've had it in accounting for my entire career. Entire career. I started in the accounting industry 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of women in accounting, but all at
admin level.
Bottom level.
Yeah.
You had your secretaries, your people running payroll, doing a bit of bookkeeping. Hardly saw anybody. I mean, I'm not saying that there wasn't. There was obviously people out there, but in all the firms I worked for, the people at the top were men. And they didn't... I mean, I worked for somebody once and there was this thing about... it was right in the centre of Maidstone. And so we used to do the Maidstone Park and Ride to get to work. So we'd all get the bus into the office. I was pregnant with my second child and there were some limited parking spaces underneath our office building that were reserved for sort of managers. I was only 6 months away from being a manager because I just had one exam left to take. And I was like, look, can I just, because it's getting a bit much, with the belly, doing the park and ride and all of that. Well, it was your choice to put your career 9 months behind.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine if that was said in this day and age?
Yeah, I know.
So that was what, 14 years ago.
Yeah.
But that was the attitude.
Yeah.
And that's what I've had to fight against.
And then people were, oh, well, if he said that, that's okay, isn't it?
And it's the eye rolls of, oh, well, she'll probably want to come back part-time. No, I'm very serious about my career, actually. I can still be a mother and have a full-time career and be serious about what I do and do it well. Just because I have children doesn't mean that I now am no longer able to function as an accountant.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But that was the general attitude back in the day.
This day and age, husband and wife shared a load really now, don't they?
Oh, my gosh, yeah. I could not have pushed my business as far as I have had it not been for the support I have of my husband, for sure. Without we are a team, and it's not like, there's some people that, these are the blue jobs and these are the pink jobs in the house. It's no, if it needs doing, we just get it done.
I've just realised I'm better than you at most of the pink and blues. Going back to football and women in football. Do you know why they're so far behind? Women are so far behind in the game, not as in skill, but why it's not as good. Because in the war, men went to war, they let the women play the football, and they took over the football. A bit like the same, I think the same happened in baseball in America.
Baseball.
And then after the war, they banned women in England from playing football. Did you know that? They banned women from playing football.
Then how did it start up again then?
Well, obviously, eventually they released that ban, but women got banned from playing football in England after
when
the war.
they came back and said,
when the men are back,
this
right?
is
The men
our
are back
territory now.
There's no longer a football league.
Association for women.
No football.
And again, they sat there and went, "Oh, okay, then that's absolutely fine. Walk all over us."
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Well, I don't know what the women said. I don't know what the response was.
I've got an accountancy question. Talking about all this sort of rude behaviour and the abuse that your husband gets. Have you ever had that being an accountant? Shouted at or abused?
Yes, I've had some times where, I'll call somebody and I'll say, I'll send them over the information. Let's say they've got a 12 grand tax bill, right? So they've earned significant money to have a 12 grand tax bill. Well, that can't be right. Why don't you think it's right? Well, I bought a van. Yeah, I've got the van in there. Well, no, it can't be right. Well, I haven't got it. Well, you had it. You've just spent it on something you shouldn't have spent it on. Like I was quite clear that, to be prudent, you should be sticking 20% of what you earn aside for your tax bill. This is I like to say, and this is the thing, is that similar, and I don't want to say that I treat my clients like children, but in a way where you have to give somebody all the building blocks, prepare them for what is to come.
Yeah.
So that when they turn around and go, oh, well, no, I didn't actually put any money aside. A lot of them now have got to that point where they go, oh, do you know, I didn't put the money aside, but I know I should have because I know you told me to. Yeah. As opposed to some years ago who used to say to me, well, I haven't got it. You didn't tell me to put money aside. And it's, okay,
you can only hold their hands.
I'm not your mother, and I shouldn't have to tell you how to deal with your own money. Like, if you earn money, you're going to pay tax on that money, and that's what's called being an adult.
As soon as our money comes in, 30% goes to a different account, and we just stick it in a different account.
And then you have to kind of forget it's there, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not our money. We don't touch that money. So
on the odd occasion, if something came in company-wise that I was purchasing, I may use that money. But then I'd replenish it.
Yeah. But I think it's blame culture, isn't it? And I think especially with like Gen Z, are very much, they look for something to blame other than themselves. I think millennials, we tend to take accountability. Like, yes, I messed up, or yes, I know that this needs to be done. I'm just going to do it.
Yes, that's millennials do, yeah.
You're not a millennial.
Are you a boomer?
I'm Generation X. I'm the coolest name of those. I'm the coolest name of those gens.
Yeah. I was quite shocked that I was actually a millennial because I didn't think I would be. But when we actually, because we looked into it, didn't we?
It is about 87, isn't it?
I think it's from 80s onwards.
I don't know.
80s up to the 90s, I think.
Yeah.
Because my sister like is as well. So, and I was like, oh my God, I'm a millennial.
Your husband's Greek, isn't he?
Greek Cypriot, yeah.
Oh, right, Cyprus.
Yes.
Okay.
The Greek part of Cyprus. Don't get them confused.
We've just booked
He gets
Athens.
very angry about
We've just booked Athens. You should have brought him in. I'd have started asking him about Athens. He'd have done his nut.
Right, so you're Greek. No, I'm not.
Right, okay.
That's that question.
Yeah.
Do you go to Cyprus a lot?
We used to try and get out there at least once a year. Because he's got family out there, but then it's not really a holiday. It's more just going and visiting. And you spend a couple of hours at each person's house. You get shoved cake down your throat, and it's not just like cake; it's cake. And they give it to you, and then you feel really bad if you don't eat all of it, or at least most of it. And they're like, it's that. Have you ever watched the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
I have done years ago.
So there is a part in the movie where, the Greek mum goes to this guy who's marrying into the family, and she said, Ian, are you hungry? And he says, no. She went, that's fine, I'll make you a sandwich. Like, that's what they do. They feed. And so then you eat like ridiculous amounts of cake. And then I don't speak the language. I can pick up little bits, but my husband speaks the language. So he'll sit and talk to them, and I'm just sitting there eating cake, just looking and nodding, going,
It's exactly the same as the Italian culture as well, because I had a previous boyfriend who was Italian.
I've had a load of previous boyfriends.
Again, similar to you, he'd sit there and have the conversation with the family, and then they would bring out pasta and this and breads, and I'm like, oh, okay then. And then you can't say no.
Very similar cultures.
Can't say no. So you're sitting there going, But like, to start with, they would bring out a lasagna. And they were like, this is your starter. I'm like, oh my God.
Lasagna.
Looking at anything
That's
else.
dodgy, that filling is I love it, but it's filling, isn't it? It's a main course.
And then it would be something else, a main course, and something else, a pudding. Like, I've got to eat this now. So I knew if I'd ever go round to a big family dinner, to not eat for about 3 days beforehand.
Blimey.
Feeders for sure.
Yes, definitely.
Which is a good job I'm married into the family, because I'm a feeder as well, in all honesty. Like, if someone comes to my house, that's it. I'm cooking lots and lots of cooking enough.
We'll go around there.
Do you do a lot of Cypriot cooking or Greek cooking? Or
I've tried a few dishes. I need to make more time to spend with my mother-in-law so she can teach me some more stuff, because my husband keeps on wanting these dishes, and I'm like, I have no idea how your mother makes that. I'm going to have to go find out.
It's a blue job.
Yeah.
It's a blue job.
Yeah.
We did a
mother-in-law cooking lessons.
Yeah.
We did a video for your mum's friend, didn't she? It was an old 80s video. We converted it to digital, and then she sent us a thank you and a load of Cypriot.
Yeah, because she is from Cyprus. She lives in Cyprus now, and she sent us all like a massive thank you hamper, and it was all this different
nutty
Cypriot
thing with jelly around it. Like, there was some weird stuff.
And do we eat this? We were
It's like a bush tucker trial for
Yeah.
we were sitting there going, how are we meant to it? Because it was on a string. That was it. It was on a string. We were like,
I know.
do we
the ones
hang
you're
this
talking
up? Do
about.
we
I
eat
can't remember what they're called.
Yeah.
I've seen my mother-in-law's made them a few times. Yeah.
And the olives, and it was so nice. It was all sort of, and the breadsticks, and it was lovely.
Right,
I'm getting into it.
Yeah, she's getting hungry now. You've got to take her for lunch now. Yeah.
Right, let's have what's your ideal clients for you? Who do you want to?
Well, like I say, we deal with what we call micro businesses. So sole traders, 1-2-man band, limited companies. Yeah. We tend to try and stick to Medway-based businesses where we can, because we like to be, we like it when people can just drop in on us.
Yes.
Similarly, we can just drop in on them. We're around the corner, or they can pick up the phone if they need us. We're there.
And where are you? You dragons.
We are dragons, yeah. So we're inside. Dragon Co-working itself is within the St George Hotel. So you walk in, there's a tablet on reception, and you just let somebody know you're there, and then somebody comes up and gets you. It's like a magical system.
It is good. It's a nice place to work.
It's a lovely workspace. I mean, Roland has done just an amazing job down there. So Roland Stanley is the owner of Dragon Co-working, and it started off as just a few serviced offices and some co-working space, just some hot desking space. And it has just grown and expanded. But what's amazing is that it's not just renting an office. You are buying into a community. Yeah. We go out and eat
there and everything.
We go out and eat lunch at the same time. Everybody kind of shares knowledge and experiences. It's because being in a small business can be quite isolating, especially if it's just you in your business. To be part of a co-working space then opens you up to a whole community that you're there every day. It's like you are one department in a much larger organisation. And it really does have that feel about it. They do social events, they do networking events as well, so you can expand your own network just by having office space there.
Because you did one.
I think Vic invited us the other day, Dan.
Yeah,
down to you, but we were working or something.
Yeah, so once a quarter they do an event called Waffle, which is great.
That's it, Waffle.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the whole point is that you eat waffles while waffling. They also do. There's one coming up called Medway Business Meetup. I think the next one is specifically about young entrepreneurs. So we don't fall into that category anymore. anymore, unfortunately.
I'll turn up.
Yeah, we are no longer classified as young.
We'll just push Tilly in front of you.
But yeah, they get some really good turnouts, actually. 50, 60 people turning up at these events. So it's a really good place to do some free networking as well, so you don't have to pay for it. But yeah, it's nice as well being part of that community because like Orchard Employment Law, they've got one of the offices in the co-working space, and quite regularly, you know, there's a very thin line between accounting for payroll and employment law.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can tell me how much you want to pay your employee and I'll process it on a payroll.
Yeah.
If you ask me how much they have to be paid, I'll just say they have to be paid national minimum wage for the hours they're working, you know?
Yeah.
If you say, how do I calculate holiday on a 0 hours contract worker? I could look it up for you, but you know, that's more of an employment law thing.
Yeah.
You know, what do you have to put in your employee's contract? I don't know.
Yeah.
So and similarly, you know, if she's trying to, let's say, calculate redundancy payment or something and wants her figures double checked, you know, we're back and forward quite a bit, sharing information between us. And had I not been a part of Dragon Co-working, had she not been part of Dragon Co-working, we wouldn't have that connection. You know, we wouldn't have that advice ready on the doorstep, you know.
Oh, that's really nice.
Brilliant.
It's good. There's lots of people that collaborate there as well.
So it's Dragon Co-working, and how do they get you on the internet?
We're www.aconnect.co.uk.
aconnect.co.uk. Useful. Okay. OnlyFans? No OnlyFans.
Well, Vicky's been trying really hard to find a way of getting one where she doesn't show her face. She said, if I can figure out a way to do it without showing my face, she went, I'm all over it. If nobody can figure out that it's me, let's do it.
If I found that she was on it, I'd be doing posters on it.
Of course you would.
All right, Vic. Oh, Vic, what are you doing here? I recognise that elbow.
I know those feet.
Yeah. Recognise those feet anywhere.
Brilliant. Thanks for coming on.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, that's it. We said thanks and we're actually finished. If you want to come on, it's www.cherrywoodpro.com/podcast.
I love the way you started that with a because you had to.
I don't know what I don't know what I'm doing. Thanks for that. Thanks for the abuse. Cheers. This podcast has been brought to you by Snugdubs Campervan Hire.
Roam the world, park anywhere.
That's snugdubs.co.uk. This podcast was brought to you today by Austin's Eatery on Station Road, Strood.
Try the Viking Challenge.